It's race week. Mexican Grand Prix is on this weekend. So as always, guys, I'm going to take a look at the 5 drivers that you should be looking out for this weekend. Which 5 drivers am I going to be paying special attention to in the 2024 Mexico City Grand Prix? Well, let's start with who else other than Sergio Perez. We have to talk about Sergio Perez coming into this one. Not only is it his home race, it's a race that he's had some success at in the past, which the home crowd, of course, loved, getting a couple podiums here in 2021 and 2022. But this has not been a good year for him, to say the least. There is a massive amount of pressure on him. There's been rumours about him announcing his retirement this weekend. For what it's worth, I don't think he will. But at the same time, Dr. Helmut Marko has not denied that that's a possibility, really, which is a scary prospect in itself, really. But yeah, around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez this weekend, I'm expecting him to probably do a little better, get a top 5 or something like that. But it's really difficult to see him even trouble in the podium, to be honest with you, given the form of Ferrari, given the form of McLaren, and given the form of his teammate Max Verstappen as well. I think it's a really massive ask to say that he's going to get a good finish this weekend. And a good finish in that Red Bull for me is at least a podium. But we'll see how he gets on. I really hope he gets a good result for the home crowd. I hope they don't go home disappointed. I hope that Perez does well in Mexico. But yeah, let's move on to the next driver I want to talk about, and that is, of course, Liam Lawson, the man who is very much positioning himself to potentially replace Sergio Perez, whether that's next year or the year after. The Kiwi had an electric start, electric return to Formula 1 last weekend at the United States Grand Prix, going all the way from 19th to the points in 9th position. Presumably he's not going to have any penalties this weekend because he replaced pretty much every single engine component that he could during the previous round in the US, taking about 60 grid penalties as a result. But let's see how he gets on this weekend. He's never driven around this circuit, I don't believe. He's definitely never driven it in Formula 1. But RB, interestingly, last season when they were AlphaTauri, got their best qualifying of the season. Daniel Ricciardo getting an incredible 4th place in qualifying. So if he gets a full qualifying and a full run, we could see a real surprise, and there's a real genuine prospect of him and his team making Q3 in their big battle with Haas. But let's go to the front of the grid now for the 3rd driver I want to talk about, and that is, of course, Lando Norris. Now, Norris lost out on points to Max Verstappen in both the sprint and the Grand Prix race at the weekend in the United States. Very disappointing for him. He now needs about 11 or 12 points every single race weekend in order to take the championship. It's now gone from being unlikely to being borderline impossible unless Max Verstappen has some sort of retirement or a non-score. But given the reliability of him and his car, that is very unlikely. However, Lando Norris, I'm backing him for a good result this weekend, and I'll tell you why. Because this is a track with very high wing angles. It's a very low downforce due to the thin air. Go check out my video explaining how altitude affects Formula 1 cars if you want more detail on that. But McLaren have dominated weekends recently where there have been very high wing angles, those being Singapore, Hungary, and also the Dutch Grand Prix as well. This as well is one that requires high wing angles, so I'm thinking that they're going to do well this weekend. Of course, very important to have good straight line speed as well, and they did a very good result. Had a very good result around Azerbaijan as well, the Baku City Grand Prix earlier this season, because Piastri won, and I think Lando Norris, had he not had his penalties in that one, could have also been up there for the battling for the win as well. But let's focus on Max Verstappen next, because Max Verstappen, if you've seen my most successful drivers in the history of the Mexican Grand Prix, you will know that Max Verstappen is the most successful ever. By far. He has 5 victories at the Mexico City Grand Prix, 5 in the last 6 years, or the 5 in the last 6 races around here. He is absolutely imperious around here, and if there's anywhere he's going to get another win, it's probably going to be here. His Red Bull does look on better form, to be fair. He beat Lando Norris, relatively fair and square-ish. I mean, there's controversy around, obviously, the overtaking move, but at the end of the day, he was at least battling with him, which is something that we hadn't seen in the previous rounds. He was miles off in Singapore. He was miles off the Dutch Grand Prix as well. Here, the car seemed to in the United States, he definitely seemed to have a lot better pace as well. So I'm backing him for a good result. A win is probably a bit too much to ask given the form of Ferrari. And I want to talk about Charles Leclerc as well, because Pole position is very important around Mexico. Leclerc is an excellent qualifier, as we know, like 30 pole positions, something like that he's got now. Leclerc, of course, winning in imperious fashion during the United States Grand Prix. This Ferrari team really just had too much pace for the rest of the field. Him and Carlos Sainz getting a first 1-2 in the US since 2006. It's very rare that Ferrari get 1-2s in general, to be fair. So yeah, I am really looking forward to seeing if Ferrari can back this up. And I mean, they could genuinely go for the Constructors' title this year. And I think they've got a really, really big chance, given the form of their car, given the form of Sergio Perez as well, of overtaking Red Bull into second in the Constructors' Championship this weekend. I think it's on. I think it's going to happen. And let's see what Charles Leclerc does. I'm definitely backing him to be very good in a battle, at least, with the McLarens. I think those two teams are going to be the leading ones. I think Red Bull will be a little bit off this weekend, but you never know. Max Verstappen is pulling out some incredible results this season. Let's not get away from that fact. But yeah, there we go, guys. Those are the 5 drivers that I'm looking out for this weekend. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on who you're looking forward to seeing this weekend, and who is your pick for the victory. Who is going to stand on the top step of that incredible podium in Mexico in the baseball stadium section? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell as well. And we'll see you very soon, guys. Have a good one.